It'll be a three-star Saturday night at Peden Stadium. Ohio, Marshall, and the Bell. Hi everybody, I'm Russ Eisenstein, the voice of the Ohio Bobcats. Welcome to Bobcat TV's Week 3 preview. Ohio at 1-1. The Marshall Thundering Herd is 2-0. This is the 57th meeting all-time in the series. Ohio has taken 31 of them. Marshall has taken 19. There have been 6 ties. The series started back in 1905, but the Bell is a recent phenomenon and a pretty cool trophy. This will be the 13th all-time meeting for the Bell. Marshall has taken 9 of them. Ohio has taken 3. The Bobcats have won the last 2. Ohio hasn't won 3 in a row in this series since 1978, 79, and 80. The Bell wasn't around then, so this would be the first time that Ohio has captured the Bell 3 times in a row. This rivalry really has everything you need in a good rivalry. Regional proximity. It's around 100 miles from Athens to Huntington, so you have that. Good football. Marshall has won a lot. Ohio has won a lot. And some good old-fashioned dislike. Ohio fans and Marshall fans don't get along all that well throughout most of the year, and we'll see that again, hopefully in a good-natured way at Peden Stadium coming up on Saturday night. Hopefully Ohio can ring the bell for the 3rd straight year. Won't be easy. Marshall's pretty good. Let's take a look at the 2013 Marshall Thundering Herd.
Marshall's football history has been well documented through the triumphs and the tragedy. They've won 12 conference titles, 7 bowl games, and 2 1AA national championships. They've had elite talent that has gone on to great pro careers. But after all the Huntington highs, they've experienced some recent lows. Just 3 winning seasons in the last 10, and an overtime loss at East Carolina in last season's final week kept them from 6 wins and a bowl trip. This year, many predict them to win their division and the Conference USA title. Through 2 weeks, they've outscored their opponents 107-14. In Week 1 against Miami, it was tied at 14 at halftime. The Redhawks didn't score again, and the Herd did, a lot. 52-14 the final. Last week, it was FCS Gardner-Webb. Ohio's seen them before. Marshall ran past the running Bulldogs 55-zip. 15 starters returned from a team that averaged 534 yards and gave up 457. In 2 weeks, they averaged 550 yards and give up 211. Quarterback Rakeem Cato is a reigning Conference USA Player of the Year and is expected to repeat this year. He's good. He threw for 4,200 yards, 37 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions last year. He has 6 TD passes this year. Conference USA first-teamer Tommy Schuler is back at wide receiver. He had 6 scoring catches last year and has 2 this year, 14 total catches. Tight end Gator Hoskins was all-league last year, too. He had 10 touchdowns then. He has 2 already this year. On the ground, sophomore Stuart Butler hasn't started in the first 2 games, but he has 258 yards and 3 touchdowns. Esri Telefero will get a lot of run, too. Defensively, they have 7 sacks, 15 tackles for loss, and 4 interceptions. JC transfer linebacker Neville Hewitt has 13 tackles. Third-team All-CUSA middle linebacker Jermaine Holmes has 10, 3 for loss, 1 was a sack. Kicker Justin Haig was 13 of 16 on field goals last year and is 3 for 4 this year.
Rivalry trophy games are a big part of college football, and from the top to the bottom, there are 12 Bell games, at least by my count, from the top of Division I all the way down to Division III. Of course, Ohio and Marshall play for one of them. Cincinnati and Miami play for another. Duke and North Carolina, USC and UCLA. Oklahoma State and Oklahoma actually have a Bell in their Bedlam series. Minnesota and Penn State and Missouri and Nebraska actually play for a Bell, but they're in different conferences now, so no telling how many times they'll ring that rivalry bell in the future. Some cool rivalries, too. How about the Dakota marker game, 1AA football? North Dakota State, South Dakota State. There are markers laid out on the border of North and South Dakota all the way from the east to the west, about yay big, and they play for one of those when the Bison and the Jackrabbits get to it in football. How about the Fremont Cannon, UNLV and Nevada, an actual big cannon. It used to fire, doesn't fire anymore. They picked it up and dropped it. When they refurbished it, it doesn't fire. Nevada won it a couple of years ago. They tried to take it on a plane with them back to Reno. They had to take it apart. Airport security wouldn't allow it on the plane. So they put it back together. They still play for it now. And of course, a classic, Paul Bunyan's axe. Minnesota and Wisconsin big old axe with the scores from all the games in their rivalry. Pretty cool. If you take a look at them, there are a lot of games across the country. You can find some crazy things that schools play for. Here, it's the bell, and hopefully it will ring for Ohio coming up on Saturday night. Network airtime on the Ohio IMG Sports Network starts at 7, goes until 8 o'clock. Kick time comes on ESPN News, but we want to see you in the right shade of green at Peden Stadium. That'll do it for our preview. For Tanner Smith and Tony Ermain, I'm Russ Eisenstein. This is Bobcat TV.